Hello and welcome to Nakkaamo Travels, the Indian travel podcast where I share with you my travel tales and take you on treks, trails, camps and hikes, drives and rides from national highways to no roads and off-road. I'm Jainil Gosalia as Nakkaamo Now Kamno, son of a doctor engineer, graduated as an engineer, a dug rider turned photographer and now a travel podcaster. For the time being, the host of the episode, A Day in the Land of the Lord of the Lords, Bhimashankar. Om Namah Parvati Pate Har Har Mahadev. Bhimashankar is one of the heavily worshipped holy shrines of Lord Shiva. It got its name Bhimashankar from the river Bhima, originating in the neighboring mountains and flowing all the way eastwards via Pandharpur to meet river Krishna near Devsugur at the Karnataka-Telangana border. And since this is not a geography class but a podcast episode about the trek to Bhimashankar, stick around till the end to know all about the trek to Bhimashankar via the two commonly used ghats, my experience and the prerequisites that you will need if you plan for this trek. Also, a few secret trek trails to reach your destination. I have divided this podcast into 3 phases. The first, in which you will hear about the trek to Bhimashankar. I will share my experience in the latter, and the last one, as usual, being the What's in Your For You phase. So, if you're ready to be an armchair traveler, let us begin. Bhimashankar Jyotirlinga Wildlife Reserve is a pristine environment with all possible forms of nature that you can count on, complete with a 17th century ancient temple. It has the ultimate mountain experience with umpteen waterfalls, lush meadows, 14 caves or colloquially they rise, mystical fog and rocky patches. There are meandering trails in the wildlife reserve, but the ones I'm gonna walk you through in this podcast is the 5-kilometer long Shirdi Ghat and the 7-kilometer long Ganesh Ghat. This, being a tough yet satisfying trek, starts from Khandas village at a height of 541 feet near Nerad, but after ascending to a max altitude of 2818 feet is Bhimashankar. This is a two-way trek and steep too, because Shirdi Ghat's maximum altitude is covered in 2 kilometers. But don't worry, you'll have a nice warm-up before this. So, all that you have to do is gear up yourself. Now, it is all about the day I spent in Bhimashankar. It was 9 in the night and I was at Ghatkopar station waiting for the train to Karjat. I was on this trek with offbeat wanderers and was to meet Joe, one of their trek leads. The train arrived stuffed with people, hardly any more alighting, making it difficult for us to board. अब मुंबईकर हूँ, ट्रेन तो छोड़ नहीं सकता. So somehow I managed to hop on, or rather hang on. With one backpack on my shoulder, another sling hanging off, I was literally latko-fying on the door. I don't even know whether that's a word or not, but it works. Somehow, till Vikroli, I managed to get both feet inside the train and my bags secured, and the journey to Bhimashankar began. Nerad is also the place from where Garbet Point can be trekked. You're half expecting my next statement, but I don't want to stuff CTAs. Getting back to Bhimashankar, we reached Nerad around midnight. Local taxis were waiting to port us to the base village of the trek, Khandas. We reached there about an hour and rested for a while. Now, I'm a person जो कभी भी, कहीं भी, कैसे भी, किस भी हाल में सो सकता है. So before even Joe or Sid could hand me out the consent form, I had already crashed. After a 4-hour nap, I woke up at 6. The fragrance of the chai and the tadka of the poha were enough to wake me up. अब जंगल में freshen up होना is ironic, but yeah, somehow we freshened up and sat to have our breakfast. And in the next 30 minutes, by 7, I was all set. This being my second trek, I had nothing to kit up. Had bought a new pair of shoes though, so was admiring them. Whilst it says, आता घाल पाय त्याचात आणि चल बाबा किती ताडणार. Wearing my #wildcraft wilding shoes, I started walking. Slow and elated, I was enjoying the nature. Walking on the tar road for about a kilometer, we reached the start point of the trek. We had a briefing here on what kind of a trek it is, the safety measures, and a participant intro. After this, we headed eastwards, towards the cliff we had to climb. The initial walk is through the plains before we enter the jungle. Crossing rivulets, walking in the forest, we reach the point from where the ascent begins. We had opted Shidi Ghat for climbing up to Bhimashankar. Shidi Ghat is the shortest route to Bhimashankar, but a little tough. Tough because it requires a bit of skill. वरना एक गलत कदम और आपकी पूरी सल्तनत खत्म. There is no sultanate here, but yeah, my life, my sultanate. Shidi, as the name suggests, stairway. People nowadays call it the ladder route, but technically speaking, it's not that. It's Shidi Ghat because the route is such that it has an abundance of huge steps. Not the perfectly shaped and inclined concrete steps, but the imperfect ones. As imperfect as we are as humans. और उसी imperfections में perfect बनने को life कहते हैं ना. The stairway is the rocks placed to form steps, or locally Shidi, to the Lord of the Lords. There are 3 rock patches that need to be negotiated, one being on the cliff, the other at a decent inclination such that you will have to get all 4 limbs to work, and the last one being the most mesmerizing one, the vertical one I would say. The first rock patch is a walk on the edge, with seasonal water flowing through its grooves. The second rock patch is nothing but a test to your stretching, because the footings are so spaced out that you need to stretch your hands and legs to reach out to the next grip to climb up. The third rock patch, as I named the vertical one, was looking like a wall to me. Back then, Jainil to Joe was, अब आगे कहाँ जाना है, ये तो dead end आ गया. But somehow I managed to tuck my shoes in the grooves and my hands in the rock slits and got over it. There is a perfect blend of 3 ladders and these 3 rock patches en route Shidi Ghat. The ladders aren't a point of attraction, but after the second ladder, there are small caves, and this is a photographic spot too. After climbing the ladder, waiting for the group to assemble, I went into the cave and took out my camera. It was raining cats and dogs, but I was under the rock shelter. The best part what I liked about this scene is that it was forming a natural film of raindrops. The water was falling off the edge and it formed a foreground layer to the valley in the background. And yep, this is the cover photo of my podcast. The perfect photo which you can check out on Instagram at @Nakkaamo. The ladders are installed by local villagers, so don't expect them to be the perfectly balanced and nicely painted. Before these ladders, people used to trek via the stone patches underneath. Just a piece of advice, if you plan on visiting Bhimashankar and trek via Shidi Ghat, do follow an unset protocol. One person on one ladder at a time. There is a perfect blend of ladders, rock patches and picturesque scenes to reach the convergence point of the Shidi Ghat and the Ganesh Ghat. Padarwadi Pathar or plateau. More to Ganesh Ghat when we descend. This is the point where I realized what a plateau is. In school days, when I used to make clay structures, I never understood the difference between a plane and a plateau. 10 years down the lane, after visually witnessing one, I can explain. Haslo, koi na. We rested here for a while, had munchies and gathered energy for the remaining ascent. Now the trail is on the cliff. After heading half a kilometer eastwards, we turned left to walk about a kilometer northeastwards. This walk isn't dangerous, but the view that it offers is simply breathtaking. Valleys, waterfalls, trees and bushes. One thing that I haven't understood till date is that I saw a bare tree, padded with greens all around it. Everything was green, all the other trees, the grass. For the fact of the matter, the mountains and the stones too had developed moss. But this tree didn't even have a leaf. अगर आपको समझ आता है कुदरत का ये फंडा, तो let me know. Walking for about 5 hours, we reached the top. The top is Bhimashankar temple. Now if you don't know, Bhimashankar can be reached by road too, and riding to Bhimashankar is on my bucket list. I'll talk more about Bhimashankar then. We had lunch there and rested for about 15 minutes. Okay, झूठ बोलने के लिए sorry. The group did this. I went to the temple. Somehow managed to do the darshan, and just when I came out, Sid was standing in front of me and was like, "Zala, atta jeevan?" And I showed him 3 vada pavs in my hand with a puppy face and a smile. I ate those vada pavs. Meanwhile, the group gathered. Now it was descending back to Khandas. I know Gupta Bhimashankar bhi hai, but we were running late, so we had to descend. Till we reached the convergence point, it is the same experience, just in a reverse order. So, skipping that part, Sid and I reached the plateau and we were waiting for the group to assemble. One by one they arrived, and with 2 bags and a rope comes Joe, and another participant with 2 poles and an injury. Now this is why I said I met 2 amazing people on this trek. Amazing because the participant could not walk because of the pain in the knee, and Sid lifted the participant on his back down the entire Ganesh Ghat. This is not something I should be happy about, but I was simply awestruck. We descended via Ganesh Ghat, which is the long route, but the easy one too. And you can check this out for yourself on the trail map by Google Earth on nakkaamo.in/Bhimashankar. This route is named Ganesh Ghat because it has a small temple to Lord Ganesha. When I had reached the temple, it was dark. All that I could see was a small jyot, something pure. I don't have much to say about Ganesh Ghat because half the descent was in the dark. But yup, I found this hut on the trail, which I would like to visit again and camp there. 4 tree trunks covered with bamboo grill and greens over them. Don't you feel worth visiting? And now is the point which I would call the photograph of Bhimashankar. Majority of the photos that you will come across of Bhimashankar are taken from this spot. Mountains to the right, creating a leading lines to the valley in the left. Just as we see white clouds from an airplane, I could see green trees and bushes in the valley, multiple waterfalls flowing from the mountains and giving the perfect balance to the harshness of the Rocky Mountains. You may have understood by now, if one view has so much to offer, it demands a click by all visitors. After this, my journey was like अंधेरी रातों में जंगल की राहों पर. One thing I learned through this trek is about shoes. My new pair of shoes were tight to me. I don't know why I had bought the same sized ones which I usually wear. So here is the basic rule with trekking or hiking shoes which I learned. Always buy a size bigger than your regular shoes, because while you trek, the feet temporarily swell, which makes the shoe tight. So wear double socks initially if the shoes are loose, and as the shoe gets tighter, get rid of one sock from each foot. This is what best works with me and shall for you too. Irritated with my shoe but more than satisfied with the view, we returned to the base village, then by local taxi to Karjat station and back home. My experience may not be the best, but yes, it was worth the effort. Hold on! Now we come to the third phase, the what's in your for you phase. Before which I would like to make a declaration that if I did it, you too can. You possibly may come back with a stretch, pull, sprain or a twist, but all that I assure you is a pump of serotonin, and that would make you forget about all the pains. So if you plan with a trek organizer, nothing better than that. More to it, if you plan on trekking with Offbeat Wanderers, you're entitled a 5% discount on using the coupon code Nakkaamo05 on their website offbeatwanderers.com. But if you're all by yourself, you can get here by road or train very easily. If you commute with your vehicle, you will have to descend. But if you opt for public transport and don't want to exert more, you can ascend via Ganesh Ghat and stop at Bhimashankar. From there are several options pooling to Lonavala and Pune. You can reach here by train till Karjat, rickshaw or locally known Tum Tum to Keshade, or directly to Khandas or Ambirpada. If you have more than a day, you can consider camping on the Padarwadi plateau, which is where the Shirdi Ghat and the Ganesh Ghat meet. Bhimashankar, being a wildlife reserve, has multiple destinations worth visiting. Kothaligarh, Padargarh, Gorakhgarh, Siddhagarh, Bhoigiri, to name a few. There is one more serene place, Ahupe Ghat. Ahupe can be reached by road too, but from Khandas it is a complete detour. But this reminds me of those secret trek trails I mentioned previously. So it's time to reveal the secrets I've kept you hooked since a long time. There are two most common routes to Bhimashankar, and you know them by now. The two rare routes are Ahupe Ghat and a challenging trek, the Lobhi, that is the Lonavala to Bhimashankar trek. Surprisingly, we have a total of 8 trails to Bhimashankar. Isn't that exciting? Just to name them: Padargarh to Nagfanikad, Kavdiya Ghat, Vajantri Ghat, Shirdi Sadar from Jamburde, Siddhagarh to Bhimashankar, Nane Ghat and Dara Ghat. And you know what's the cherry on the pie? Hemant Marathe, the founder of Offbeat Wanderers, has explored each of these trails, and that's their USP and my personal reason to choose Offbeat Wanderers for most of my treks. So look for a weekend, plan a trip and just bite the bullet. I have been to Ardrai, a forest you may have not even heard of. To help you locate it is the forest in the valley that lies amidst the Malshej Ghat on National Highway 61. And this was an exploration trek. So do consider subscribing and you will be on the top of the list to be notified when the Exploring Ardrai 20 kilometers in 14 hours podcast will be on air. That is it for the episode, guys. If you had an apt armchair travel experience, do share this with your travel buddies. I'll be back with yet another podcast very soon. Thank you for sticking till the end. It means a lot to me. Spread love, respect nature, live better, and once again, I am Jainil Gosalia as Nakkaamo, now Kamno, son of a doctor engineer, graduated as an engineer, a dug rider turned photographer, and now a travel podcaster, signing off.